I want to talk a little bit today about hypnotic stories, maybe even just therapeutic stories, because I believe all therapeutic stories have the potential to be hypnotic. When you're working from an Ericksonian strategic therapeutic perspective, the lines between what's hypnotic and what's not sometimes come a little blurred. But hypnotic stories are stories, and I believe, which kind of capture the imagination, maybe sometimes weave in certain suggestions, maybe shift certain perceptions and perspectives without a direct commanding of the person to do anything different. Storytelling is as old as humankind. We find all kinds of evidence dating back to the Stone Age of some kind of stories. The cave paintings, those kind of things might have been stories that were told around campfires and help people understand their world a little more, help people to kind of walk through their daily lives with some form of understanding on how to proceed in a successful manner. Well, that tradition's never stopped. We still love stories. I mean, we still love reading novels and watching stories on television and movies. For a therapist, I think being able to tell a good story is incredibly important for many reasons. But the primary reason is when you are given a space by the client to relate a story, you have a wonderful potential to help evoke in them some uh, resource, some strength, some different way of seeing their situation that is very indirect. You're not directly telling them what to think, you're not being confrontational and challenging what they're thinking. You're just giving them some information, but that information is kind of hidden in a story that may be about somebody like them or about their situation or just kind of indirectly capturing the whole mood of the session. So for me, hypnotic stories are stories which touch people. And I don't mean to where they're always crying or anything like that, but touch them in a way that opens them up to new possibilities. So, for example, an often used story or way of telling a story that Erickson is credited with, he'd call the My Friend John story, where he would talk about a friend of his and pretty much lay out all the things that the friend had in common with the client, but then also provide a solution for the problem within the story in a hypnotic way so that the person could consciously hear, okay, that's some good information, but also unconsciously be receiving some shifts and some suggestions and some nudges that would kind of ferment a little more seeds of change to grow. There's multiple ways to tell hypnotic stories. I'm just going to give one today. One is, I find, is a way is just to find a story that resonates with you and the client, because this is a co-creative process. But somewhere in that story, place a slight hypnotic suggestion. So, for example, if you start out with a story about a certain situation, throughout that situation, place little suggestions, maybe in the middle of the story, maybe at the end, but using your language, and as we talked about in previous videos, kind of permissive language, presuppositional language, helping people open up a little bit to that. You know, when I was a new therapist, I was really hesitant to apply these concepts in a way that I wanted to, because I was kind of concerned that that person that I was talking to might be kind of real not receptive, maybe even aggressively frustrated with me. But my mentor at the time kind of sat me down, and he told me this a fascinating tale about when he first began working with clients, and that he had a lot of fears, and those fears kind of felt true. But he found that if he just pushed a little harder, push a little further into what's possible, that sometimes these openings will occur. And when these openings occur, he says you just have to jump right into them and see what it's all about. Because, much like swimming, you don't really learn to do it on land. You can learn some basic ideas, but it really takes, you have to get in the water and really move your arms and get fully into the moment to see if you can swim. And sometimes you can't swim automatically. Sometimes you really just have to see what it's about and really just step into that moment, slide into that water, and begin to move around and see. You may think you're initially sinking, but if you just relax and allow the moment to unfold, you may find that you become more able to just float comfortably and go in multiple ways that you didn't think you could. And as I listened to him tell that story, it really kind of gave me the courage to just try it. Just try to tell a story. And just somewhere in there, put some important things that people might need to know, but without, directly telling them what that something was. So I was always grateful to that story. And I find that floating can be a wonderful option when you just decide you want to begin a story. And floating through the story in a comfortable, natural, and easy way can sometimes be very beneficial. Thanks.